Hello everybody and welcome back to Splattercat's Let's Play of Towns. Things have changed a bit here in Mount Worthless, not so much though. We have gone ahead and built up the tavern. That's the most notable change, is I have added tons of rooms to the tavern, and the first lair is almost finished. I am going to go ahead and place the last few blocks for this lair. And along with the tavern, we've gotten a more diverse list of heroes. If we open our Heroes tab here, you'll see that we have a knight, 2 wizards, a thief, and Sips. The 2 wizards have leveled up substantially, and they actually can polymorph enemies now, which allows them to just bombard them with fire from a long ways away until they're dead. Basically, the enemies become helpless while they're polymorphed, and it lasts a pretty decent amount of time. Sips took the opportunity to equip himself with various gear, and it's turned him into a bit of an ass kicker. He's kind of the regional badass right now. I've seen him walk down into a dungeon and clear a room of multiple Cyclops, multiple hobgoblins, and goblins with one spellcast, so everything that I've heard about him has been true. The thief is untested at the moment, hasn't even gone down into the dungeon because I was forced to lock the doors after the knight up here kited back a bunch of enemies that ended up getting a townie killed. That being the case, the dungeon is going to remain locked for the time being until I feel like we have enough guards on duty to take care of business. I went ahead and you'll see here that Walter Warchie is very well equipped. I made him a silver sword, some goblinite gear, and also some hobgoblinite gear. So he's pretty much an ornery bastard when it comes to killing anything that comes up the pipe. However, he's not always on guard duty, so I'm thinking that in the future we are going to have to increase our guard revenue to make sure that our people remain safe. I did go ahead and I burrowed down to the -6 lair because I'm going to be honest, I got bored. When the dungeon's not open, I feel like I just sit and watch things happen and wait for anything to occur. However, we were not ready for the -6 lair. Things down here hit a lot harder. The difficulty jump between the -4 and the -6 is huge, so keep that in mind when digging downwards with your own dungeon. I do know what's over here because I was forced to reload a save. My stupid knight kited back probably 25-30 monsters from right here and killed off a huge chunk of my population. The monsters do kick down your doors, so keep that in mind as well. If you have kind of a similar retainment system as mine, monsters will attack this door and take care of it. This map on the -2 is going to look a lot different because I spent hours mining out stone just looking for iron. One of the peak things that we need right now in our society is iron. Iron is going to allow us to build higher tier gear, but more importantly, iron is going to let us get more mines into place, which is what we're lacking at the moment. On the -4, we found a substantial deposit of copper, which is right next to our mine shaft, namely right here. I can probably fit 3 mines in right here that are going to pick up copper, and that's going to allow us to make goblinite gear for a large proportion of our population. However, we need iron to build those mines. There was no iron to be seen on this layer either, except for one tiny node here which I burrowed down to, which kind of enlightened me the fact that the -6 is where we're going to get most of our iron. If we count them, we have 1, 2, and 3 deposits here, which means we're going to get a huge grip of iron from this layer. The monsters being the main problem. As soon as we get them cleared out, I'm going to leave this area locked off for a while, and I'm going to get as many mines in place as possible so that we can have a substantial iron supply. Up on the top layer, I'm trying to get a retaining wall in place because, frankly, I feel like a siege is probably brewing at any moment. If we catch a siege and we don't have a wall up, it's just going to be a world of hurt for our townies. It's going to be a situation that's really going to leave us just nasty, bruised, and bleeding. Many of my townies at the moment are unarmed because I've had such a fluctuation in population that I haven't had the opportunity to equip them all. Over here, I'm thinking about actually just making a second layer on this tavern and just making more rooms in the top, although it seems like getting past 9 to 10 heroes is pretty difficult, considering that it takes a larger and larger population jump each time you get a new hero to get the next subsequent hero. So keeping that in mind, we may not need all that extra space, but it'll probably look cool. I do need to start looking to my guardsmen and getting some more gear together for possibly a 3rd and a 4th guardsman, although I'd like to leave my workforce intact. In terms of food, you can see that Mount Worthless has moved over to an all-steak diet. However, this is eating through my cow supply pretty rapidly. I figured with 15 to 20 cow farms up, I wouldn't have this issue, but it looks like I am going to have to build further fencing down here and just have loads and loads and loads of cows if I want to maintain this diet. At the moment, cows are withholding, and I can alternate between making omelets and cows, although I would recommend not making more than 1 food supply at the same time. I ran into an issue where when I was producing both omelets and cows, the townies seem to get confused. They'll build like a half an omelet, and then they'll build half a steak, and then they'll just get confused and quit and end up eating a raw steak in the first place. And I almost ran out of food with that kind of workflow. It really was kind of an ugly situation that kind of prompted me to switch over to a one type of food diet. So we are producing tons of steaks at the moment, but I'm feeling like we're going to run out of cows pretty shortly, which means I'll swap back to omelets until the cows replenish themselves, and I can get more retaining walls built and then more cow farms built. I added some goblin heads to spikes here because I felt like goblins needed to know what was going to happen if they crossed this line. There are 2 sets of locked doors that enemies have to get through in order to get to the surface. However, because a large proportion of my storage is done on this -2 layer, our townies tend to run into problems as soon as the enemies kick this wall down. I tend to remedy that by adding more guards. It's just something that I haven't gotten around to. The rest of my binary storage system is in place. I just haven't had time to place any more barrels, but I will take the opportunity to do that shortly in the future as soon as our walling situation is taken care of. So for now, I think I'm going to continue building this bridge, and I think I'm going to bring it up a layer so it's kind of a rampy kind of doodad. So there we are. We'll add some more wood. And then I'm just going to add one more segment there. We're going to have to build this out all the way, I think, just to make this work properly. So this is probably going to go all the way across and connect, but I also want this to step up another 2 layers or so that I think I've got the I've got the +4 pegged as the layer that I think has enough space to put our Badger Arena on. Now, crossing the river here, I do have some personal houses placed. I haven't had the time to wall in these condos over here, but I have. It's going to be a pretty sizable complex once we get done with it. This is going to house a lot of townies. We do have a merchant in town right now, but he's not really carrying anything that I care about. It's just another bone merchant. I'll probably go ahead and just buy off all of his bone breastplates and just pay him with cash, because I don't really have any goods to trade him with, and I don't want townies running all over the place trying to get to bones. That's going to get rid of him for the moment being, though, and that means another merchant can show up, hopefully with some iron, so that we can get some mines built. Now, at the moment, everything is kind of at a crawl because I queued up tons of wall space. The walls are being placed at the moment, and that is my primary concern. I am worried about sieges right now. A siege would just be a mess, and I really just don't feel like dealing with it. To be fair, most of my townies remain unarmed, because the ones who are armed tend to get themselves killed off because they hold their ground. And so it just becomes a giant circular mess of trying to equip people. And once you've got the added clutter of things laying around on the ground, it becomes difficult to equip people properly. I could remedy that situation by having them go down and gather up all the gear, but the doors are locked at the moment for a reason, and I am trying to keep heroes out of the dungeon for the time being. Now, I think I will go ahead. Looking around here, while they're getting things taken care of, I do wish that I had iron to place on these copper nodes at the moment, because I would like to get Goblinite up and running, because that's the kind of gear that would kind of make our little city immune to most attacks. At the moment, I guess we'll just have to wait until the walls are built. Looking at my supplies here, I can build gold gear and silver gear. We do have a reasonable supply of gold and a decent supply of silver. Let's see here, where is silver hiding at? There it is. Actually, I think I used up a lot of my silver making swords and things. Now, going up to the first floor, they may have produced an extra silver sword. I'm going to take a look at my stocks here. I may have accidentally... Okay, I didn't. That's good. I was worried for a moment that right after the period of the last episode, I created a silver sword, and I was afraid that I set that to be continuously made. I am going to check my production just to make sure. I didn't set that to be continuously made, so that's good. Now, I am tempted to make gold gear, because we can. However, we only need... Oh, for the magical mace, we need an ice smithy, but we don't have one yet. But we can make golden hammers, golden axes, and let's see here, golden spears. And that's kind of tempting, although creating golden staffs is also tempting, considering we have so many different wizards in our city. So I think what I'll do is we had 15 gold. It takes 3. I'll make 2 staves and 2 golden hammers for the time being. And that'll allow me to get 2 more guards up and running who have great weapons, and then I can worry about equipping them with gear in the future. Now that we've got some new weapons being produced, it's time to kind of go through the roster and figure out who's going to be part of our next kind of vanguard. So we've got someone here with 2,000 attack, but I'm going to run through and see who has a base attack of probably in the 2100s, and there we are, Margaret Murdoch does. So she's going to be the next member of our little warrior culture. 2,000's close, but not close enough. 13, 18, 11, 2,000 on the dot almost. It actually doesn't look like we have very many people who are fit to be warriors. I guess I'll go with her as well, considering she's the only other person above 2,100 that I've seen so far. So now we have 2 people that are above 2,100 added to our roster here. Their defense values are not so good. I would like to see their defense be a little higher. So my temptation is to allow the dungeon to be opened and build another retaining wall here with further locks so that I can lock off each layer of the dungeon as I see fit, although that's going to be a lot of organizational work. It's going to be kind of a pain. Let me take a look and see how Walter's doing at the moment in terms of how long he needs before he has to sleep. So I may wait to unlock the doors until I know for sure he's just arrived for his shift. Now, in order to guarantee that my people pick up the various gear that I want them to have, so someone up here should be crafting staves and things. Let me take a look at my weapons panel and make sure that it's been produced. Oh no, and did I click those on the right? I think I did. That is unfortunate. There we are. Okay, that should work a little better. So hopefully someone is producing those weapons so that I can equip them at minimum. It looks like the... Let's see here. Oh, it's not going to have stats on that page. It's only going to have stats through here. That's going to raise their defense by almost 1,000, which is a reasonable amount. And then it's also going to allow them to deal 4,000 damage and give them 3,500 attack, which is pretty incredible too. So the first golden hammer is finished. And I'm not sure where they left that. Okay, there it is. And let me see if somebody sniped that staff already. So it looks like one of our wizards grabbed that staff already, which is fine. I was hoping Sips would grab it first, but it looks like Thomas Vitalis has grabbed it, and that's going to make him a lot more useful as a hero as well. That's going to make him kind of a vanguard person for us. And I don't know why they keep placing those blocks in the wrong layer, even though I'm specifically telling them to do it in the 3rd. They keep doing it in the wrong layer, which is irritating, but not so irritating that I feel like throwing a hissy fit. I'm going to go back here and equip her with a golden hammer, because that's going to help her out. And then I'm also going to use that to do some testing to see it does. So when you look at their stats on here, I was wondering about that as I was assigning someone. When you look at their stats on here, it does take into account the gear they have, so these are not their base stats. I was wondering that as I was equipping things, and now we all know. So once a new... I need to figure out a way to get this staff to Sips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a trick that I typically use. I'm going to have one of my guards come over and grab the staff. There we are. She has the staff. And then I'm going to assign her to a separate guard group. So I'm going to create group 2. And I'm going to name it Gear Droppers. And then I'm going to go back up to my soldier roster. And I'm going to assign her to Gear Droppers. I'm going to come over here to the first layer. And I know for a fact this is Sips's room, so he has to come back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a patrol route for the Gear Droppers, which don't appear... Oh, I have to set them to patrol. I forgot. There we are. We'll set them to a patrol group instead of a guard group. We'll go to add patrol point and Gear Droppers, and she should run over here. And what I'll have her do once she's over here is drop the staff. And she's going to unequip that, and she's going to go back and get... Let's see what the best thing laying around here is. Might as well have her grab the best. have her grab that other stone hammer, unless it's down in the dungeon. And so she's going to drop her staff there, and hopefully when Sips rolls through, he'll grab that. I do want to get Sips equipped, because he is by far the all-star of our hero group. He takes care of business like no other, and I do need to make sure that I don't forget. I'm going to assign her... I'm going to assign her to the hefty he-bitches, because she now has good enough gear to where she can throw down. And then this separate hero in gear droppers is going to pick up this other golden hammer before someone else does, namely the knightly paladin character. And once she's grabbed that hammer, I'm going to assign her to that work group as well. And now she has it, so I'm going to... Let's see, she's in the gear droppers group. I'm going to kick her out of that group, and I'm going to add her to the hefty he-bitches. There we are. You'll see that we have a ghost here. Someone died while building this lair like an idiot. He got trapped up here, and I just didn't notice. And so we've kind of got a mascot ghost here. I've named him, but he's Manfred von Applebottom. He's kind of our town's hero. So now that we have a reasonable guard force, I don't like their armor situation. I do like some of the things they have going on, but not all of them. I'm going to have them pick up those other 2 bone breastplates, just so they have something. I didn't take the opportunity, and this is kind of an organizational failure on my part. I should have had everyone gather up all the gear from the -4 layer before I opened up the -6, but we'll deal with that. I can't send someone down here to wall this off safely, unfortunately, without allowing heroes into this bottom layer. I think we do have... Let me see if Sips has decided to pick up that... He has not. So how long does he have? Okay, we can't look at his distinct stats, but I'm going to keep an eye over here on his camp room, and hopefully he'll run over there and take care of business at some point. We have a new merchant. Looks like he's an arms vendor, but he doesn't really have much. Nothing here is seeming really attractive, so I'm going to use him as kind of just a dump for all the worthless stuff that I don't want to keep. I'm not going to sell him any golden staves. I will sell him some of these clubs and some of this random gear that we have laying around, just so we can get a little bit of extra cash. That's an action that I would recommend for anybody. Is just, did I set that to... I set that to repeat build, didn't I? Why are there 2 staves laying around? Let me take a look. So we have 2 extra staves right now, which means I didn't catch that early enough, but that's fine. We have 3 wizards, so 3 staves should allow them to get equipped. Hopefully one of my wizards will walk by here and pick up this golden staff. If he doesn't, I'll do the same thing I did with Sips's room and just leave the staff in his individual room until he comes by and picks it up. If that doesn't work, you can always try leaving it in the market as well. A lot of heroes seem to like hanging out in the market. They alternate. You can leave the gear in the arena. That works too, but I don't have an arena yet, so that's not an option. So I guess I'll go ahead and we'll unlock these doors for now, and we'll just kind of see what happens in the future. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in this next episode. This has been another update of the Mount Worthless Towns playthrough. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you all next time.